Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Patrick Matiza. I am the branch manager at IBTC. I would like to welcome you all to our ACCA Open Day. Welcome all. Maybe you might be saying, but Patrick, today, what are we going to be talking about? So the first thing is we're going to look at the value of ACCA, why it is valuable for you to study ACCA. Thereafter, we're going to look at the syllabus of ACCA, and we look at the entry level. We look at if you've got exemptions, where can you actually start at? And when we're done and dusted with that, we're going to have now a look at the IBTC offering, the different offerings that are there that you can actually use. So I welcome you once again. Thank you. All right. So first, let me tell you about IBTC. So I can tell you about our accreditations with local bodies and also international bodies. And also, I can tell you about our existence, where we have been around since 2006, and more than 10,000 students have entrusted us with their exam prep. But you know what? I'm not going to bore you with that. What you might need to know is our philosophy as IBTC. We are in the business of enhancing careers and enriching lives. We are very sure about our business purpose to get students to pass the first time. Once you've signed up with us, it becomes our job to ensure that you pass your exam. Every week, we measure our pass rate at a company-wide team meeting, and we consider that as our true north. So what we usually like to say is it's our job to make you pass first time. If you don't pass, we stick with you until you pass. So it's more like we stalk you until you pass. We use BPP study material in that regard. So in terms of the BPP study material, you find that the advantage that is there is it's ACCA's sole platinum approved learning partner, which means that it is quality assured by ACCA. And do you know the benefit that is there? That means that you are getting the benefit from an exclusive examiner review of content. There are other material providers out there, I agree, but it's more on the part that we believe BPP is the best. We closely follow their study methodology, and you see why we follow BPP. You know, like what they say, that numbers don't lie. Now, isn't this interesting? So here, what we are comparing the global ACCA pass rate as the subject against that is achieved by the global. So here you can see this is the global pass rate, and this is the one which is the BPP pass rate. And in terms of the BPP pass rate, that's the same as your IBTC pass rate in that regard. So traditionally, your advanced audit assurance and assurance, your advanced performance management, your advanced financial management, these are known as very, very tricky subjects. But as you can see, with our students, they perform between 20% to 30% better than the global average. They say numbers don't lie. So the truth is, you are 40% more likely to pass with BPP and IBTC. A lot of this is driven by the quality of the questions and the structure of the courses that are there. Before I go any further, I don't come alone. I come flanked with two of my experts in terms of ACCA knowledge. They are fully pregnant with ACCA knowledge. So as I go by with the presentation, when you have got any questions, do not hesitate to put them on the chat function. I'm with my colleagues, Robert and Bongani in that regard. So I don't come alone. I don't come alone. I come flanked with experts in that regard. All right. Going on, why ACCA? That's a question that a lot of people then ask. So some of you that are on this platform, you might actually be asking that same question. And you wonder that ACCA a good qualification for me to go for it? There is a long list of reasons why one should study ACCA. But personally for me, it's because of these following benefits that are there. You know, ACCA, it's recognized worldwide. It has got about 219,000 members. And do you know how many students? 527,000 students. In how many countries? In 179 countries. So you know what? If you wish to travel, you can do so with ease in that regard if you are looking at ACCA. And then another advantage that it has is in terms of its employability. It has got on its belt 7,400 employers. So ACCA qualifications, do you know who developed them? They are developed by employers. So this means that employers all over the world, they've got confidence in the ACCA members and students to understand the rules and the laws of corporate finance in their country. You know what we usually say about ACCA? We say it's a seal of approval if you are ACCA qualified. And it also gives you a good account of technical ability and experience. But not only that, there's also the part of career progression. If you need a formal qualification, if you need to work in a career in finance, and if you need to get in a senior position, ACCA is the answer. And you find that in South Africa, most of the companies that are in South Africa who employ ACCAs, they are international organizations because they know the value that ACCA holds. You know what? Another thing is the flexibility that is there in terms of studying. You can study anywhere, anytime, at your own, at any time, at your own pace in that regard. So if you want to complete it, the ACCA qualification as quickly as possible, you can attend lectures on a full-time basis or even on a part-time basis with an accredited learning provider, just like IBTC. And you know what? Some degree courses will actually give you exemptions. So you actually be exempted of some of the ACCA papers. But I shall talk about it later on in terms of the exemptions that you can actually get. Last but not least, practical experience. So in terms of practical experience, what I like about ACCA is that for you to become an ACCA member, I shall talk about the syllabus. You don't need just to complete the syllabus, but you need to complete 3 years of practical experience. Maybe some of you are like, Patrick, I do the qualification, then 3 years again. It might sound intimidating, but one thing is, the key for you to ensuring that you are a complete package before coming an ACCA member, and then you enjoy I was speaking in terms of the practical experience in that regard, that it makes you a complete package in that regard. So it's on that part that it then assists you that whatever that you're saying on a theoretical basis, you can actually be able to articulate it on a practical basis. But you know what? Lastly, the good thing with ACCA is that it will give you a route to BSc honors in accounting, which you can actually be able, which you'll be doing with the Oxford Brookes University. I shall also speak about it in that regard. Right, the competency framework. So this is one of the elements what I really love about ACCA. So it has the competency framework, and this competency framework, as you can see here, it has got 12 behaviors that are there. And this competence framework, what happens is that it is important because it includes everything from data in that regard. It has got your financial management. It has got at the heart of it, there is the ethics and professional module. So in terms of the ethics and the professional module, it is essential in terms of the ACCA qualification. I think in terms of ethics, we can't speak more in that regard of how ethics is quite important within the financial field in that regard. So what you realize is that what they try to do, ACCA, is that before you get any qualification at any level, the first thing that you need to do would be an ethics module in that regard. So what happens, maybe you might say, but Patrick, so what do we do in this module? So this module, it uses realistic business simulations to provide a number of professional skills, such as leadership, communication, and also your commercial awareness in that regard. Right. Let's look at the syllabus, the ACCA syllabus in that regard. So in terms of the syllabus, so here, this is the full ACCA qualification. So maybe you might be saying, but Patrick, so where do I get started here? Where do I get started? All right. So it now pretty depends. First off, so your ACCA qualification, as you can see here, it's divided into 3 levels. You've got the foundations level, you've got the fundamentals level, and you have got the professional level. And then you say, so where do I start, Patrick? Where do I start? So where you start, if you are a school leaver and you didn't matriculate with maths and English, or you didn't pass 3 subjects at higher grade, that's you will start here at foundations level. And then you might be saying, okay, fine, yes, I'm a school leaver, but at the end of the day, I've passed maths and English. I've got 3 modules in that regard. Where then do I start? So you then start at fundamentals in that regard. So you start here at fundamentals. And then maybe upon us, there are graduates that are there. And they say, but Patrick, I've got a qualification already that I have. Where then will I start? So you might actually get exemptions, and then you can actually then start at strategic professional in that regard. So it pretty depends. In terms of ACCA is the one that then gives you exemptions. So it really depends in terms of the qualification that you have, then it can actually be able to state at which level that you can actually then start at.
Mr. Patrick, my apologies.
Yes.
So sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
It seems like there were a couple of people that were not getting audio. So I just thought maybe if we could, just to kindly ask if you could take maybe just a 10 seconds break and just have everybody log out and try logging back in. Because I see on the chats, there are quite a few people that haven't received their audio back. So I just wanted to, for them to just quickly log out and log back in, just so that they don't miss out on anything.
Okay, noted.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for that.
Thanks.
Could I kind of ask if we can just give it a thumbs up reaction, if we can hear, if we have audio? Thumbs up reaction. Right, okay, right. Brilliant, okay. Astandile, right, noted. Chinotenda, noted. Just a thumbs up reaction. Michelle, noted. That's a thumbs up reaction. If you can hear me, if you can hear me. If you can hear me. It's the thumbs up. If you can hear me, just a thumbs up reaction. If you can hear me. Okay, noted. Aishteve. Just a thumbs up if you can hear me. Noted, Maya. All right. All right. Okay. Noted, Michael. Noted, Pavrita. Noted, Atalen, Jacqueline. Oh, good, Tanya. Oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, gracious. All right. Bongani, is it good to go? Or
Yeah, I think you can carry on, sir, because I saw quite a few people actually logged out, and I see some people are actually logging back in at the moment. Thank you so much, Patrick.
okay, all right, okay. Thanks, thanks, Bongani. All right, good. So let us now talk a little bit about these different levels. So the first one that we have is the foundation level. The foundation level, you've got 2 modules that you have, and then another 2, then another 3. So you have got a totality of 7 modules that you have. If you finish the first 2 modules, which is FA1 and MA1, you get an introductory certificate in financial management. You finish FA2 and MA2, you get an intermediate certificate in financial and management accounting. And then you finish FAB, FFA, and FMA, you get a diploma in accounting in that regard. So FA1, this is recording financial transactions. So there, what you deal with is more of, as you say, it's a recording financial transaction, recording of financial transactions, you do your payrolls, you do your recon in that regard. And then MA1, that's management information. There, what you then do, it's more of management information, also your cost accounting, providing information about costing. Then FA2, maintaining financial records. So there, that's where you deal with your journals. When you're preparing your journals, it's your debit, your credit in that regard. And then MA2, it's managing costs and finances. So there, it's more of cash management in that regard. FAB, that's accounted in business. So here, it's more of the function of accounting and the part of business. And then FMA, that's management accounting. You look at cost accounting. You're looking at preparing of your budgets in that regard. So that's in that regard in terms of your foundations, the foundations level. So after then your foundations level, then you go to the next part, which would be, so when you finish, then you get a diploma in accounting in that regard. Right. Then afterwards, then comes your fundamentals level. So in terms of your fundamentals level, if you have already done your foundations level, You see these, they sound familiar. A, B, M, A, F, A are the ones that you did at the foundations level. So you then exempted of these. If you have already done them if you're coming from foundations level, you no longer need to do these three because those are the ones that you did here. So they are the same modules in that regard. And then from there, then you'll be left with 6 modules that you need to do. So which means that of the 6 modules, then it pretty depends in terms of for you, which ones that you then want to start with in that regard. And then you can then follow in that regard in you doing those. So from here, then you have got your law that you can do in that regard. So your next level here is your fundamentals. So in terms of your fundamentals, so these ones, your modules, they are broken down into knowledge and skills portion. So you have the knowledge and then the skills portion in that regard. This is the knowledge portion, which if you are coming from the foundations, then you've already done in that regard. And then comes now the skills portion. So your skills portion, it has got 6 modules in that regard. And when you finish all of them, then you get your advanced diploma in accounting. But you know the good thing that ACCA does is that it is what we call variance. So it is quite important that there are some few modules within ACCA that have got variance. Maybe you might then ask me to say, but Patrick, what do you mean when you say they have variance? So what happens is that there is the international variant and there is the African variant in that regard. And from me, from time to time, I get questions to say, but Patrick, so which one can I do? Can I do the international one? Do I need to do the local one in that regard? So for me, usually, I then answer that question with a question. I still remember my mother once told me that, hey, my son, never answer a question with a question. Hey, I always say sorry to my mom when I do that. So I usually then ask you to say, for you, when you're looking at your future, are you looking at working in South Africa or you're looking at going abroad? If you're looking at working in South Africa, then you need to do a local variant because the variants that will be there are things like your law here, your taxation, and even your advanced taxation in that regard. So at least you need to be acquainted with the law of, if you are to work in South Africa, you need to be well acquainted with the law of South Africa. But if you are to go abroad, again, you actually also need to be acquainted in that regard. So the variant, it depends with you. Where are your aspirations? Are you looking at then that you'll be studying within, you'll be working within South Africa or working abroad? Then if you are done with the fundamentals, from the fundamentals, then comes the next one, which is the professional level. So your professional level, this is the apex of the ACCA qualification. This is when you are actually now finishing in that regard. So if you are a graduate, you might realize that, and you've got a recognized degree, you might actually get exemptions from the whole fundamentals level. And then you go straight to this professional level. So you might then say, but Patrick, how many subjects do I have here? So you have got 4 exams in total. 2 of them are compulsory, which is your SBL, which is the Strategic Business Leader, and the SBR, which is the Strategic Business Reporting. You then need to choose to further your qualification, you then need to choose 2 on here. So here you've got your advanced financial management, advanced performance management, advanced taxation, and advanced audit and assurance. I also get the same question, Patrick, which one should I take? So usually, again, I then answer the question with the question. I usually ask you to say, for you, what do you then, are you specializing with? If you say to me, you specialize with financial management, you have to go for advanced financial management. If you specialize with performance management, then you have to go to advanced performance management. You specialize with taxation, then you have to go for advanced taxation. You specialize with audit, then you have to go for advanced audit and assurance. So it pretty depends with you. Or maybe at this juncture, you're not yet there, but you're looking at the part to say, afterwards, that's where you would want actually to go when you are doing your specialization. So it's more so in terms of you, in terms of your specialization, that where exactly then would you need to be in that regard. All right. Then from there, then comes the part to say, what some other IBTC students? I think there might be a mic which is on. If we can switch off our mics, I will mute the mics. Okay, thank you. Right. So in that regard, this is what some of the IBTC students say. So there is a question. So I shall speak about these online classes. He says he liked the online classes and would refer more students to IBTC. And Buisana also spoke about the IBTC support and the online lectures that enabled him to pass SPL paper. You know, they say the SPL paper is difficult, but he passed it first time. Also, we have got Tatenda, who started from home. And also on the platform, I've got Bongani. He's our head of our home study package. So if there's any student who passes through home study, it comes through his hands, and in that regard. So Tatenda was very happy, got 74% in his exam. Right. Then the next one. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Right. Then in terms of qualification, you might then ask that for you to be qualified for the ACCA, what then do you actually need in that regard? So the things that you then need is, number one, for you to be able to qualify, things that you then need is, number one, you need to have completed your ACCA applied knowledge and applied skills. So now what happens with this degree is that ACCA, it has actually partnered with Oxford Brookes University in the UK. So where you can actually, they offer the honors degree in applied accounting to ACCA students. This, you know what this means? You actually obtain an academic qualification and also a professional qualification on top of that. So what you need to do is you need to opt in the BSc degree scheme before starting with your fundamental level subjects. This is done online when you are registering as a student. And when you need that assistance, do not hesitate to contact us in that regard so that at least we can give you guidance. So what you need is you need to pass financial reporting, which is the FR. You need to pass audit and assurance and financial management exams. And afterwards, then you need to complete the other applied knowledge and applied skills exams. It's very important to note that if you are exempt of any applied knowledge and applied skills modules, which are based on the qualification, and your qualification, it has not to be older than 10 years in that regard. So in that regard, in terms of your applied skills and applied knowledge, should you want to opt for that degree and they've given you exemptions, you need to opt out of the exemptions. Why? Because you need to have completed, you need to have done the ACCA applied knowledge and applied skills. So not the part that you say you've been exempted of them. No, you need to have actually done them. So once you've passed your financial reporting and your financial management and your audit and assurance. You would then need to do the research and analysis module. Then that is the final component for you to actually get your Oxford Brookes degree in that regard. Right. So some of the things that it then consists of. So the one for the 10 years, I've already spoken about them in that regard, that at least you need to have 10 years, your degree or your qualification that you have. It doesn't have to be more than 10 years. And it's a good qualification in that regard, because what will happen is that it becomes a fusion of two. You've got your theory on this side, and you've got your practical on the other side. Right. So let's have a look in terms of your ACCA exams. So in terms of your ACCA exams, you find that you have got those that are you have got those that we say are on demand, and those that are session based. So in terms of those that are on demand, it's from your whole of your foundations level is on demand, and also your AB up to financial management, they are on demand. So maybe you might then say, Patrick, what do you mean when you say they are on demand? It means you can write them at any given time. So even after we've done this open day and you've got some questions that you ask and you're like, no, I think the foundations, I'm able to do this, you can register with ACCA and you can actually write it as soon as you just book your exam. So that is what we mean by on demand. So how do you write them? They're computer based, and then where can you write them? You can write them at any center, which is an approved center in that regard. And how long are they? It's 2 hours. And when do you get your results? You get them immediately. So it's on that part that they are marked with the software, with the computer, and then you get your results there and there. Maybe we can say the chat function. Is it good or bad that you get your result there and there? Okay, food for thought. And then in terms of the pass mark is 50%. Then from your advanced assurance up to your SBL. So all these from up to only financial management, but all of these from your applied skills, the rest of the applied skills subjects, until you go to the strategic professional, all of them, they are on demand. So you write them either in March, June, September, or December. But one thing that you need to know is that all of the exams, they are computer based. And then you've got venues that are there in Cape Town, in Joburg, in Durban. And then how long are they? So they take about 3 to 4 hours for you to complete in terms of the exam. So it pretty depends in terms of which exam that you'll be doing in that regard. But then if it is in terms of the results, when do you then get your results? So your results, this time you get them 6 weeks after the exam, because these ones are now actually marked by a human being other than the software, like the other ones, which are the ones which are on demand in that regard. But your pass mark is still the same, which is 50% in that regard. All right. So that's about that in terms of your ACCA exams. So maybe at this juncture, maybe you might be saying, but okay, Patrick, I think we now know a little bit about ACCA from what you're saying. What about IBTC? What do you have to offer in terms of that? What are the offerings that are there in terms of IBTC? All right, let's look at that. So let's look at the IBTC options in that regard. So one of the things that we offer is a pass assured promise, which is meaning that as an institution, we are confident that you pass first time when you come to study with us. If you don't, maybe you might then be asking to say, okay, fine, what about if I don't? But I'll say, God forbid. But if you don't pass, you can actually come back for free. Yes, correct, for free in that regard. So it's on that part that We shall speak about the terms and conditions, which would be if you are doing your module, to make sure that you get the progress test, the mock exams, the course exams that you're given, that you actually do them in that regard. Right. Maybe the question might be, Patrick, what now is different about IBTC in that regard? The other colleges which are out there, then why is it we should actually then say IBTC might be a good choice in that regard? So first thing is we give you a study plan. So it looks simple, but it's a clever little document. I think the time when they say dynamites come in small packages, I think they could have seen our study plan. It's a clever little document. So you might say, but Patrick, what does this clever little document show me? So number one, it shows you the order of study. It shows you how much time you need to spend on each chapter, and then also when to do question practice. Because on that part, if you do the content, you also then need to have that fusion of the content with the question practice. Secondly, we give you ample question practice. These are essential to get you exam fit. The questions you see that they build in complexity and scope as you go along. So we believe that the key to passing ACCA is for you to do the content and also to do the questions. So for us as IBTC, we believe in what we call a 60-40 model. So 60% of your time spending it on doing the content, getting the content, and then 40% doing the questions, which is more of application. Because one thing that we've realized is that sometimes a student is heavily pregnant with information, with the data, but what is lacking is application. And application is more about the questions that you do. So you see, we give you a variety of questions so that at least you've got the exposure to these questions. Thirdly, we give you online options that are there. So you have got a range of online resources that you can actually be able to use in that regard. On the fourth aspect, we give you a support team. So you have got a tutor that will be there for academic queries. You've got the admin team that will be there to deal with other queries in that regard. We believe that in terms of academic excellence, it's only possible if you've got a platform which has got operational excellence to ensure, number one, that you get the right books, and also you get them the first time in that regard. Also, that you get the right test, you get the right assignments for you to do, and that your queries, they are attended to quickly. I think these are things which are important, because what happens is that, as they say, time is a resource and it's limited in that regard. So it's quite, for us, we know that you've got limited time, and we try by all means to make sure that we make it valuable for you. But you know, what really makes IBTC different is in terms of the progress monitoring that is there. So there is a student support staff or a handholder whose job is to monitor your progress and drive you towards the exam. We actually appoint a team of people whose KPIs, the key performance indicators, is the pass rate of the people that they look after. That means that it's somebody's job to get you to pass your exam. So please make sure that you make that person to, in terms of the job, that everything would be well in that regard. So they try by all means to drive you to the exam. So some of them, when they give feedback, they say, sometimes when they call students already, they don't answer in that regard because they know the number, which is what some of the students ended up confessing, that when they saw the number, they know that, okay, This is actually from IBTC, and they didn't answer because they knew they were guilty. Maybe by that time you should have done progress test 3 and you haven't done any progress test at all. But it happens because work, life happens. But that's why we are there for you, so that at least we can be able to see how best we can assist you in that regard. All right. So here we've spoken generally about what then IBTC has to offer. But let's zoom in into the different courses that the different study methods that are there. Let's start with the first one, online classes. Oh, this is you there with your laptop. These are the classmates, the course monitor, the tutor in that regard. So at the top of your online courses, your studies, they are broken down into 6 resources in that regard. So what you then have is you have got 6 steps that you need to do. And then in each step, there are chapters that are there that you need to study. There are questions that are there that you need to practice. And there's a video that you can have for you to watch, which would be encompassing that chapter or the chapters that are within the step. Then you might then say, in terms of the videos, how long are they? So your videos, you find that they're between an hour to 2 hours. So it's not like a long video. So what they try by all means to do is to try by all means to summarize the chapter and put all the relevant information that can then assist you as you're doing the chapter in that regard. Also, it's quite important that you stick to the dates. So you find that when you register, there's a calendar that you're given, and within the calendar, it then shows you when you need to submit each of the steps, so that this tutor, who will be an online tutor, can mark your exam, your test, your step, and give you feedback in that regard. Then also, they are monthly start dates in that regard. The good thing is that they start each and every month, especially the ones that are on demand. But the ones that are session-based, they start after every session in that regard. 6 to 8 weeks, you should be done already with your qualification. And but what we then do is we give you access for 6 months. So it's not a part that within 6 to 8 weeks you're done, and then thereafter, then we then say, no, we are actually cutting your access. So the access we give you for 6 months. So it pretty depends. If you are doing the ones that are on demand, it will be 6 months. If you are doing the ones that are session-based, it will be 3 months. Because remember, after every 3 months, then you'll be writing your exam. So there is proactive support that is there, which you get from the tutor. And you might then say, Patrick, is this a tutor from IBTC? No. Are these online classes done, recorded by an IBTC tutor? No. They are recorded straight by a BPP lecturer, who is the publisher of your study material. So this tutor would be from BPP. And this tutor would be with you along the journey, the 6 to 8 weeks. So as soon as you are done with the 6 to 8 weeks, that's when the tutor then is removed from the platform. Then you might say, so Patrick, am I left alone? No. Then our course monitor then comes in now. So the course monitor is the one that will be there to assist you until you have that 6 months or the rest of the 3 months, the remainder of the 3 months. So if you have got any questions, you are most welcome then to post them to our course monitor in that regard. So these are online classes. They've got monthly start dates if you're doing on demand, but if you're doing the session-based ones, they start after every 3 months. 6 to 8 weeks, you should be done. And we give you 6 months access if you're doing on demand. If you're doing the session-based, it will be 3 months. And then there's the proactive support, which is the one that comes from the BPP tutor that will be there on the platform with between the 6 to 8 weeks duration. And then afterwards comes now the reactive support, which is more from the course monitor once the tutor is gone. So the reactive is more so in terms of you when you pose any of the questions. You've got online, you've got videos that are there for each and every of the chapters, and you've got your 6 steps, and in each step you will have the chapters that you need to do, and then also the questions in that regard. All right, let's see another one. So you have got home study option. So in terms of the home study option in that regard, when you come on the home study option, you look at number 1, you can study at any time. That's the goodness of home study. You can study at any time. It's not the part that it is a session or in that regard. At any time you can study. And then remember the study plan, that cleverly to document. It is good that you then follow the study plan. And then you submit your assignments, you complete your progress tests, and the part of the mock exam in that regard. So again, you have got a tutor that is there. So there is an email that is at your disposal. Should you have got any questions, you send to the tutor. Our response time is 2 days or less. So within 2 days, then we'll have responded to you. And then also you have got a course monitor that you have. So the course monitor is the one who from time to time gives us feedback that some of the students have given him after they've passed that, hey, I saw that it was you, but I didn't answer. So it's there. You see here, we say submit assignments. So the day that is stipulated for you to submit your assignments, if you don't submit your assignment, you find that there's a call that from your course monitor saying, you might have forgotten something in that regard. So it's on the part that a lot of students have attested that because with the business, what happens with work and everything and family, as much as you might want to actually follow to study, but at times it just gets overwhelming. But you actually need somebody who then reminds you to say, hey, let's get back on the track. And then the course monitor is quite good because a lot of students, they give a lot of good feedback that he gives advice in that regard to say, because he has dealt with a lot of students. So, you know, when they say there's nothing new under the sun. So if you have got what you're struggling with, maybe is it time, is it what, you should know that there was another student also who was in the same position or situation that you were in. But so the course monitor will be able to assist you in that regard. We also have home study online. So in terms of home study online, you've got access either in June or in December. So pretty much the same, following of your study plan, submitting of assignments, complete, progress test, and then you have got a mock exam. So you might say, but Patrick, it seems as if it's the same thing that you were saying to us just now on home study. What's the difference here? So it's the online part of it. So here it's a fusion of home study and online. So remember the time when we spoke of online, that what do you get? You get some resources that you get some online videos that you get in that regard. So that is what you get. So you get the home study part, and also then you get the part of your videos in that regard. And then you might then ask to say, in terms of that, do I get books or do I have to buy books on my own? No. All of our study methods, they come with study material in that regard. So you'll have study material for all of them in that regard. So it's your home study online. You have access until June or December. You need to follow your study plan because the course monitor is going to be checking in terms of that. You need to submit your assignments, and you need to complete your progress tests and your mock exam, and you get feedback in that regard. Then you've got videos that are there for each and every of the steps along the way that you go in that regard. And then, so that's with regards to the offerings that are there. So what's included? Just a recap online classes, you've got that clever little document, the study plan. You've got tutor access, you've got hard copy material, you've got a lecturer, who is the global lecturer that is there from BPP. You've got your progress test and mock exams. You've got your online portal where you've got video lectures and question practice. Remember, 60-40, video lectures giving you the 60, the 40 with the question practice. You've got a program monitor that is there. Remember, if you don't send your progress test, there is someone who comes and it's pass assured in that regard. Remember, pass assured, if you don't make it, but God forbid, you can't do it for free. Home study online. You've got study plan, tutor access, hard copy material in that regard. And then again comes the progress tests and the mock exam. You've got an online portal, program monitor, and the pass assured promise. Then the home study, still the study plan, so that at least you can be able to know where do you need to study in that regard? What do you need to do at what time? Then you've got tutor access. If you have got any problem, any questions, literally from page 1 or from the contents page to the last page, you're most welcome. And then you get hard copy material, because we believe the part that other than going now, you go and buy textbooks, we give you, it's more like what? A total package in that regard. Progress test, program monitor. If you don't submit the progress test, you will hear from the program monitor. And also along the journey, the program monitor will be checking with you to see if all is well with you. All of the packages, they come with the pass assured promise. Right. So we come in to the end of our presentation. So if you need to get a quote, you can visit our website and complete a booking form. So this is how, in terms of the interface of our website in that regard. But also, we'll also put our contact details. I see my colleague Robert has actually also put his details and also our landline in that regard. You're most welcome. We can actually then do a quote for you in that regard. So once you've completed here, so in terms of inquiring, you can actually also use this interface that we have on our website. If you use this, then you'll actually have one of our student advisors who actually get in touch with you in that regard. And if you've got any questions, we are there to assist you in that regard. So once you've just, it's on our website, if you just complete this form, then our students advisors will actually be in touch with you. All right, we've come to the end of the presentation. On behalf of IBTC, I would like to thank you for taking this time to actually come on the platform so that at least you can hear in terms of ACCA. I pray and hope that it was worthwhile in that regard. So we are open for any questions that you'll be having in that regard. We can assist you. You can choose to use the chat function, or you can choose to unmute. We are here to answer any of the questions that you might have in that regard.